What is going on, y'all? Welcome to Joel Friday TV. I am Joel Friday. Welcome to the show. A few announcements before we get started. Hit that like button, smack it. Lay the smack down and like, subscribe, and share button. Tell your peoples about the show so we get the subscribers up. And a message y'all doing now. Help a brother out. As you guys know, we are live Monday through Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific time on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Punchy.tv. And at any point during the show, you can call in by calling 888-775-3773, 888-775-3773, and we can get into whatever's on your mind, heart, spirit, and soul. We can get into it. If for whatever reason you can't call in, but still have a question or comment, or you just want to support the show, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/JoelFridayTV, or go directly to the YouTube live chat. Hit the super chat button there. Send your question or comments in. I'll read them live on air. You know how it goes. Also, special announcement. Brand new. I am now JFTV is on Cameo. Hey! Woo, 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 woo. Cameo.com/it's Joel Friday TV. Because somebody took Joel Friday TV already. What the? How you going to take my name? Somebody took it. So I had to put it's Joel Friday TV tick. But I had to do it. But I'm on Cameo. And if you want a little shout out, or you want some a little relationship advice, I mainly got it because just if you're looking for some quick relationship advice, you know, about the ladies, about a little bit of relationship, a little bit of love. You want something quick, real quick, you just need a word. Right? You just need a quick little encouragement. A quick little pick-me-up, whatever it is. Just some quick little advice, whatever that may be. You can go to Cameo and you can ask a question or request anything. And I can give you my feedback, my opinion, my little advice on what I believe to be true. So you can go to cameo.com/it's Joel Friday TV, and we have some fun. All right. Also, it is Tuesday. What does that mean? Tuesday is True Crime Tuesdays. Okay? I have a little something for you guys today. You know how we do on Tuesdays. We skip the appetizer and we go straight to the full course meal. You know how Tuesdays goes. We hungry on Tuesday. Except today I got something a little bit different. Okay? I mean, you could call it true crime, but it's not so much about a human being doing the killing. It goes a little deeper. And we're talking about something physical that's doing the killing. What is it called? Oh, it's called a cellular device. Oh, it's called. Oh, I can't lift up the computer. And I want to bring this up because there's this video that I came across, and I want to. It kind of speaks on the subject at hand today, and I kind of want to speak on this because I want to tell you guys that I want my, listeners, viewers to understand that every single thing is in God's will. Everything. The the evils that happen, the mistakes, the sins, the drugs, alcohol, the school shooters, the evildoers, the movers, the Chevy Cruisers, the losers, the bruisers, all of it. All of it is in God's will. And I know I'm being funny and silly, but I have a message deep, and we're going to get to it, right? And I want to explain why everything is God's will and how is that possible? How is even evil in God's will? How is the devil's deeds in God's will? How is babies dying, young ages, cancer, all these different things? How is all that God's will? That's blasphemy, right? I'm going to explain what I mean by all of it so that it makes sense. So don't hang me yet. Relax, chill, calm down. It's going to make sense. And you can call in if you disagree, okay? But first, let's start it off with a little video here, okay? 14-year-old girl dies, and what Jesus revealed about social media to her will shock you is the title of the video here, okay? So we're going to play this. I'm just going to, it's a few minutes long, about several minutes long. But I'm going to put it in 1.5 speed, so that way we can just kind of get through it. But it has some interesting things that according to this video, this 14-year-old girl dies, sees Jesus, and is given a duty when brought back to earth. Interesting, kind of interesting. So we're going to get to that. Hold on, let me set it up here. Boom. Okay. Let's see if you guys see it. Boom, boom. Okay. So we're going to jump right to it. Here we go.
My name is Madison Taylor Brooks. I'm 14 years old, and on October 17th, I died for 12 minutes when our car flipped 3 times on Highway 29. I was in the backseat scrolling through TikTok, barely paying attention to Mom driving me to volleyball practice. My little brother Tyler was playing his Nintendo Switch next to me. The rain was coming down so hard that Mom kept asking me to look up directions because she couldn't see the exit. I remember being annoyed because I was right in the middle of watching this dance trend video. I didn't look up. Then it happened. The semi-truck came out of nowhere. Mom screamed. Tyler dropped his game. My phone flew out of my hands as our SUV spun across 3 lanes. I remember the sound of metal crushing and glass breaking. Then nothing. But then I was floating above our car. I could see the ambulance lights flashing. People were running around below me. The rain was still pouring, but I couldn't feel it. I watched as they pulled my body out of the wreckage. My favorite blue volleyball shorts were torn. My face was covered in blood. Mom was crying, being held back by a firefighter. Tyler was already in an ambulance. I tried to yell, "Mom, I'm okay, I'm right here," but she couldn't hear me. Then everything got really bright. The ambulances, the highway, Mom, it all faded away. I felt myself being pulled through what felt like a tunnel of light. It wasn't scary. It felt warm, like when you stand in the sunlight on the first day of summer. That's when I saw him. Jesus was standing there, and he was nothing like the pictures in Sunday school. He was... I don't even have words. Light poured from him, but somehow I could still see his face. His eyes, they looked right through me like he knew every thought I'd ever had, every mean text I'd ever sent, every TikTok video I'd ever posted. But he still loved me completely. When he smiled at me, I felt like I was home, really home. Not like our house back in Oak Ridge, something deeper. Madison? He said my name, and it sounded like music. His voice wasn't loud, but it filled everything. I started crying. Not sad tears. I don't know how to explain it. I just felt everything at once. All the love I'd ever wanted, and all the peace I never knew I needed. Am I dead? I asked him. For a little while, he said. But I have something to show you first, something important. He reached out his hand, and when I took it, suddenly we were somewhere else. It looked like a giant room with thousands of screens floating in the air. On each screen, I could see kids my age, some younger, some older, all staring down at phones or tablets or computers. What is this? I asked. Jesus looked sad. This is what I see every day. These are the children I love, but they cannot hear me anymore. As we walked through the room, I could see closer. Each screen showed someone like me, hunched over, scrolling mindlessly. Their eyes looked empty. But the weird thing was, around each person were these Shadows. Dark figures that whispered things into their ears. What are those? I whispered, moving closer to Jesus. The enemy's workers, he said. They speak lies through the screens. He brought me to one screen where a girl about my age was crying while scrolling through Instagram. Around her neck was what looked like a heavy chain, and at the end of it was her phone. The shadows were putting more links on the chain with every swipe of her finger. Her name is Emma, Jesus said. She believes she is worthless because she doesn't look like the filtered images she sees. She spends 6 hours every day comparing herself to lies. I felt sick because that was me too. I remembered crying in my bedroom because Kylie posted pictures from her birthday party that I wasn't invited to. I'd spent 3 hours that night scrolling through everyone's perfect lives, feeling worse and worse. Jesus touched the screen and I could hear Emma's thoughts. Nobody would care if I wasn't here anymore. Look how happy everyone else is. But that's not true, I said, and people would care. You understand, Jesus said quietly. But she cannot hear the truth anymore. The voices from her screen are too loud. We moved to another screen. A boy, maybe 12, was playing a violent game. With each kill in the game, the shadows around him grew bigger.
What the?
This is the quickest way to clear out stuck
What
poop.
the?
I have to poop.
Oh. What an ad. Oh my gosh. Did she say she has to poop? What the? It's supposed to be about Jesus.
Hours a night for 3 years, Jesus said. The games were designed to keep him there, to make him need them. His parents don't know he's playing until 3 a.m. every night. His anger is growing. His ability to feel compassion is shrinking. I thought about Tyler and how he'd thrown his controller at me last week when Mom made him turn off his game for dinner. Jesus showed me more screens. Kids sending cruel messages to classmates while laughing. Girls taking inappropriate pictures to get attention. Boys watching violent and sexual content that made the shadows around them dance with glee. Everywhere, phones and tablets glowed like little prisons. Madison, Jesus said, turning to me, do you know how many hours you've spent looking at a screen in your life? I shook my head. He waved his hand, and I saw what looked like an hourglass. But instead of sand, it was filled with moments of my life. Moments I'd never get back. I saw myself sitting on the couch while my grandma tried to tell me stories about her childhood, but I was watching YouTube. I saw hundreds of sunsets I'd missed because I was taking selfies instead of actually looking at them. I saw myself ignoring my brother when he wanted to play because I couldn't pause my TikTok scrolling. 8,422 hours, Jesus said quietly. That's how much of your life was given to a screen. I did the math in my head. That was over a year of my life gone, but everyone does it, I whispered, feeling ashamed. Yes, Jesus said, and that's why I'm showing you this. The enemy has found a way into every home, every bedroom, every mind, without anyone noticing. Parents give their children these devices without understanding they're handing them poison in small, addictive doses. Then Jesus showed me something that broke my heart. He showed me hundreds of moments where he had tried to speak to me, when I was alone in my room, or walking to school, or lying in bed at night. Times when his presence was there, when he wanted to comfort me or guide me. But every single time, I'd reached for my phone instead. I'd chosen the noise over his voice. The greatest trick, Jesus said, was making everyone believe they're connected when they're actually more alone than ever.
Ooh.
Tears were streaming down my face now. I'm sorry, I said. I didn't know. Jesus put his arm around me. This is why you're seeing this, Madison, because others need to know. Then he showed me one more scene. It was our living room, but different. My family was playing a board game. No phones in sight. Everyone was laughing. Outside it was raining, just like the day of the accident. But inside it was warm and bright. I could almost smell Mom's cookies baking. This could have been tonight, Jesus said softly, if the phones had been put away. My heart felt like it was breaking. I never realized how much I'd missed by staring at a screen. Madison, Jesus said, your time here isn't finished. You have an important message to share. But I don't want to go back, I said, and I meant it. Being with him felt so good, so right. I want to stay with you. He smiled that smile that made me feel completely loved. I'm always with you, Madison, but your family needs you, and others need to hear what you've seen. Will they listen, I asked. Some will, he said, and that's enough to start changing things. He touched my forehead, and suddenly I felt myself being pulled back, away from his light, through the tunnel again, faster and faster. Then pain, so much pain, beeping machines, bright hospital lights, someone yelling, she's back, we've got a pulse. I gasped for air, my chest burning like I'd swallowed fire. My whole body hurt. I couldn't move my left leg. There was a tube down my throat. The doctors called it a miracle. They said my heart had
Okay. So, let me go back.
stopped for 12 minutes.
Wait. All right. So, you guys kind of get the point, right? We don't have to go through the whole video. She just goes back. She tells a few people about what she saw and da-da-da. I don't know if this video is actually real. I think that the message was just a nice little message. Nothing crazy, nothing. What's more interesting to me is what I'm going to explain about it to me. The video wasn't that deep. Interesting stuff, though. I do think that that has happened to people. I don't know about what the social media thing, but I think this is just like a YouTube that does AI videos with deep messages. But because I didn't really see the girl, right? We didn't really see the girl. So I don't know if this is actually a true story. But there's true things that they're speaking on, right? The concept was on point, right? And it made me think because I realized when it comes to that everything is in God's will, it made me think because you gotta have a look at it like this, is that like on the phones, which was a good point that's being made, is that on the phones, the video was explaining how the girl saw herself and others on their phone scrolling and there was dark shadows around, right? And those dark shadows were whispering lies into the ear of the kids or people in general and about what they were seeing on their phones, right? About what they're seeing on their phones. And then the people in the vision that she was seeing were depressed and lonely because they were believing the lies about what they're being told about what they're seeing, right? And the question is like, well, why doesn't God just tell everybody that, right? Why doesn't God just say, listen, well, if you want to do that, bye, I'm done with you. Why does he allow this stuff to happen? Why is he okay with it? How is that in part of God's will? Okay. For one, what is true is that the devil does speak in your ear. When you're reading things, you're looking at things, especially with the phone, you start to compare yourself. We know this. You compare yourself to what you see. You want what you see. You want to be like what you see. Everyone's done it, right? And all of it is not necessarily true, but we believe the lies about it. And then I realized that the devil, God allows people to be deceived. God allows women to be deceived, for one, about their beauty, right? That's such a huge thing. When God allows women to be deceived about their beauty, right? What does that mean? He allows them to, care about filters, on Instagram and care about these filters, care about these poses. You know what I mean? You got to have the right filter. You got to have the right pose. Care about these enhancements, right? Making the eyes go back. I didn't even know that was a real thing. I found out Pearl Davis show told us here on Punchy that a lot of these enhancements are just like a simple pulling back of the eyes to change the look. I was in shock. But it's true. All these enhancements, and what's happening is they kind of faking their lifestyle to get what they want, right? To almost deceive in such a way to survive. And it's not because it's not strictly about being evil. I'm telling you, that's not the intent. And I talked about this last week when we were doing the true crime on Richard Ramirez, right? It's not about, the intent is not to be evil. That's not the intent, I don't believe. The intent is to survive, right? This works. This feels good. This feeds me. This gets me by. It's more about to survive life. God knows that. What about the men? Well, God allows the men to be deceived by way of pornography, OnlyFans, these different things. And what does that do to men's mind? Makes them chase women, makes men chase money, chase status. Why? Because it all points back to feeling good, feeling your ego fluffed up, feeling powerful, and you can choose any kind of woman you want. It all sorts back to the woman, right? But what's happening is relationships are ruined because there's no love, right? There's no relationship. There's no understanding. There's no connection. It's all based off of this power, right? And pornography is not the only way that does this to men, but men in general, there's different things, but God allows this. Why? And it's not, even with the men, it's not that the men want to be intentionally evil, right? It's not that the men want to just be harmful to the ladies. Because why do the ladies do this? We talked about this before, but I'm going to bring it up again. Why do the ladies, do what they do? And why do us men do what we do, right? Well, the ladies do it, a big part of it. I won't say the entire thing, but the big part of it is because this is what is going to attract the man. This is what is going to get the man. This is what works. This is what gets the attention. This is how they attract a mate, right? They do all these different things, even if it's not entirely truthful, right? But this is what works. Why? Because the goalpost that men created is that regardless of if we're respected or not, the most attention we show are the ladies that have this thing. You know what I mean? This thing. And men don't really respect that, but it's the most attractive to the man's eye in the fallen state. That's just how it goes. It's just how it works. So everybody's kind of not intentionally trying to be evil to each other, right? Everybody's just kind of trying to use each other to survive. That's what we just do. That's what humans do. We use each other to survive, right? To get by. That's just what we do. It's not personal. And we take it personal, right? Because our feelings involved when we're on the receiving end. It hurts because you don't care about me and stuff like that. And that happens, but it's not personal. Everybody just trying to fight and survive. And God knows that. God knows that. So why does God want this? Ooh, I'm going to tell you. Why does God want this? Because we want it, right? This is what we want. And God knows, and God would rather us do what we want. Because because it's free. It's free. He doesn't have to, it's not force, it's not slavery. It's what we want to do. He of course would rather us follow him because it benefits our lives, right? Of course. But he doesn't want to force or make nobody do that. He wants people to do what they want to do. So he wants it because we want it. And God knows at the end of the day, God's not judging it because he knows that we're lost. He knows that human beings are lost, so he's not judging it. But that's the wrong question to ask. Why does God want it? That's the wrong question to ask. I'm going to tell you guys the right question to ask right now. The right question to ask is, why does God use it? Why does God use it? Why does God use evil? Why does God use negative? Why does God use pain? Why does God use pleasure? Why does God use problems, issues, conflict, None of those things come from God. Right? None of those things come from him, meaning those don't represent God. Those aren't the fruit of what, God represents. But he uses those things. That's the question. Well, why does God use it? Because many will crash and burn, but some will crash but turn. You guys know I'm not only a rapper, but I'm a deep one. Now I'm playing. Many will crash and burn, but some will crash and they turn back to God, and it wakes them up. Why? Because God knows the heart. And that's what he wants. He wants the heart. And he knows that people whose heart are in the right place and are well-meaning and want to overcome, they will, but you got to allow God to do the work in you by letting him break you. And we talked about it. to make us stronger. All right, I'm gonna stop rapping. But that's why he does it. He wants us to crash and burn so we can turn to him, right? But not everybody's gonna do it, right? But this is why he uses it. Because the point is, it all points back to him. It all points back to him. God uses the devil. I'm telling you, this is all part of God's plan. You think that God didn't know that Eve was going to deceive Adam, that Satan was going to deceive Eve? You don't think God knew that? God knew that. Well, how did he know that? Why do you think they had the parts? They done had the baby making parts already. God designed it all. He already knew this was going to happen. God uses evil. And guess what? That doesn't mean just by God using evil, everybody's going to return back to him. No, some might turn away. Some might go the wrong way. Some might identify with evil. And some might prefer that and choose that and go to him. But God's looking for the select few. So he allows this stuff to happen for our benefit, to point back to him for his glory at the end of the day. And then I called it true crime, and I guess it's not really true crime, but kinda. Because all this stuff that's on the phone, all this stuff that's on the news, all this stuff that is in your face, on the internet, on social media, all these different things are lies being told that we believe, including me. We just believe them, and it is affecting us in some way or another. It is doing that, and it is it's a slow death. That's why we can't complain about it, because it's not immediate. Just like Richard Ramirez was talking about in his little interviews, he's like, serial killers do what government and other people do, allegedly. What other people do on a mass scale, except serial killers do it in front of your face, right? So you can point the blame at the serial killer. You could do it that way, right? You could blame the serial killer and be like, oh, you bad, we see you do it. You're the one, you guilty. I want to hate you. Right? We could see that, right? But what about behind the scenes? What about those you don't know is doing things? What about the devil? You can't see him. What about the devil? Slow death. So that way you can't blame him. You have nowhere to point to. Because one day you were happy, the next day you're depressed. You're not even knowing why. Because it's deceitful. So, but God, you trust God, all things will work into our benefit. Ain't that a scripture? All things will work out in our benefit. So, many will crash and burn, but some will crash and turn. And some will crash and yearn, and some will crash and learn. You know what I'm saying? Oh, man. Anyway, let me go to the Superchats, and then I'll get to your calls. 888-775-3773. 888-775-3773. Let me go check this right here. Seasal coming in hot yesterday. Seasal says, you're completely wrong, Joel, referring to yesterday's message, not today's message. I don't know how she feels about today's message. Yesterday, she said, Joel, you're completely wrong, right? Because I discussed the South Africans, the white South Africans. I don't understand why, listen really quick, we're on that subject. I don't understand why you guys all call the other shows to talk about what Joel said. Call Hake, you super chat Hake, you super chat JLP, you super chat Nick. Well, I don't know about you super chat Nick. But you got all these other shows. Instead of calling me, call me. Let's talk about it. Call me on the phone, super chat me. Why not address me instead of going to the other shows to get them to side with you or something? Let's discuss it. Call my show. I don't understand it. But whatever. C-Sal goes on to say, MS-13 is a gang. Their government hasn't murdered thousands. And the USA has already let in millions of South Americans. How many white Africans, though? C-Sal. Are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure all the other places? Do you know about the other places? Do you know about the other governments? Are you positive? I don't know. Their government hasn't murdered thousands, and the USA had already let in millions of South Africans. How many white Africans, though? It still seems like you guys be into the white thing, but hey, that's your opinion. That's what you want to do. That's your thing. But it ain't about white. And I never said I disagreed with the South Africans coming in here. Okay? I never said I disagreed. So, whatever, C-Sal. Nah. I appreciate it, C-Sal. Thank you for the super chats back to back. Adversary says, agree with you, Joel. Finally. I got two agreeers. I agree with you, Joel. Blind justice is the way to go there, and our Christians persecute in Islamic countries. We should not focus on how they look. Christians that are being persecuted in Islamic countries, we should not focus on how they look. It's a good point. What about the Christians in the bad countries? Aren't Christians in the bad countries, in other countries, being killed and murdered as well? They don't count? What about them, C-Sal? I'm just wondering. What about the Christians that can't even pray in public? If they pray in public, they get killed. What about them? They don't deserve nothing? Or what? I think C-Sal forgot about them. I think she did. But it's cool. You cannot Z me with a no message, just an image here on Superchats. I think it's like I can't tell what it is, but I appreciate it. You can't Z me. You cannot Z me. I appreciate it. Amazing stuff. Thank you, man. Let me check. I'll come back to the super chats. Let me go to a call because I have somebody waiting on the line here. 888-775-3773. 888-775-3773. Let me go to Justin out of Fullerton, California. Justin, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. How you doing today?
All is well, Justin. How are you?
Well, I was doing exceptionally well. Thanks for asking. I was just calling though about the Section 8 proposal. Do you think that we should kind of reallocate where we help people the most on Section 8 and get the rest off, essentially? Or should we preserve it irregardless for anyone who needs it?
I'm sorry. Say that one more time, Justin.
Should we continue to keep the Section 8 for everybody, or just the ones that need it the most?
Well, I mean, the purpose of, well, I don't know the real purpose of a lot of these things. There could be agendas all over the place, but it is supposed to help people out, help those in need out, not just anybody
Yeah,
who wants to just get on the system because maybe it's a handout or something. Like I think,
ideally, right?
yeah, I think it
Yeah,
should be those who really are in need of it, and it really should be taken seriously in that way. I believe.
because it's more impactful, right? And it's
Yeah.
and fiduciary responsible to the taxpayer. But surprisingly enough, there's claims, which is I think from my limited knowledge at least, is that there's a lot of misinformation that states that Section 8 is going away. It's not true. I mean, I'm in the industry in property management, and there's basically a lot of folks that need it, the disabled, the elderly, and such. They'll keep it, but
Yeah.
there are definitely like William III on the Hake Report earlier said. He brought up how people that are, what is the term, like able-bodied or something? Those
Yeah.
are the types that are going to continue to be encouraged to get off of it, like within 2 years or a year or something. And give them a vocational skill, get them started. But so with that being said, it's good, but they're not really looking at even more like dissecting, which they should. Do you know anything about jizya in the Islam religion?
No. What is that?
In the wonderful Islam religion, there's some things that are in the Quran and some things that are kind of, interpreted in the Quran. And so they charge a tax. It's a tax, so welfare, right? We have a tax that we pay for those who need things. But a lot of people from Islamic countries go to European, Western countries, sometimes even America, and they obtain welfare, where the most is needed for the citizenry. They somehow obtain it even as a green card holder.
Yeah.
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 Like they're not going to get the gold card. They're not rich. They don't own oil, but for some reason they charge a tax to they call them kafars, the ones that are the infidels that don't believe, and then they just kind of extract the wealth from it instead of working. Do you know about this concept?
No, I haven't heard of.
Hmm.
I haven't heard of that. So
Here's
this
another
is
thing.
it's
Well, that's just one.
it's the Islamic country sending over people to America and then
Everywhere. Yeah.
okay.
Everywhere that's not Islamic. So their belief is like, well, if you're not from Islam, we'll tolerate you. We'll tolerate you till we're strong. When we're weak, fine. But once we're strong, we will resist and rebel and enforce and dominate our ways. But if you are permitted to live in there, you have to pay them a tax. Jews were to bow down, cross the other side of the street, but bow down. Just normal practice would be like, I don't know, monthly or whatever, yearly, give them a dowry. So it's like a shakedown for those that don't believe. And the ones that obtain, a lot of times they say death to America, death to Israel, whatever, but they really do believe those things. And they come to this country and, we believe, they must be here for some kind of good thing like democracy, freedom, whatever. But in reality, a lot of people that get benefits, and it goes on and on. There's people that are from Viet Cong who fought in wars, who help the American side, and so they get like lifetime Section 8. There are veterans that should be getting it, but they don't really get it. A lot of homeless people get it, a lot of drug addicts that are mixed with immigrants that are illegal, undocumented, what do you want to call them, in the mix. They don't separate these. They don't isolate and prioritize the people that should deserve it to those who kind of don't really even, deserve it. I guess that's the word. They're not deserving of it, of the taxpayers' money.
Yeah. That's interesting. I find that it's a lot easier to get caught up on these things. I mean, a better way to put it, it's a lot easier to get on these things because the requirements are not that hard to get, right? Or to prove. You don't really have to show proof of much. You know what I mean? It's easy to kind of get on these programs. And I think that that's the issue as well, is that like we're so nice here in America. I think that people who come here and who are trying to make a better life for themselves, like they say that they claim, if they come here, there should be no handouts for them. They should come figure out a way to make it work, right? You don't get to get on government assistance that we pay for. And we don't even really know if you're really here to actually work hard to actually prove yourself.
Yeah, so it's like you're unqualified. There's those who are qualified, those who aren't qualified for a lot of programs. That would be the first start. Now, people are destitute, homeless, deranged, whatever the term is, they need help. So put them in the right institutions. Reopen the institutions that Reagan used to have for mental illness. Separate the drug dealers within those homeless gangs. Find the illegal immigrants who, maybe just need to get placed in the right department and sent back, and maybe we can try again. But, it needs to end. All this kind of wastefulness spending where America, it's like lack of love for yourself, for your own family members. And so that's why I was bringing up Section 8, because I think that's one good move they're making, but there's a false claim that it's going to hurt everybody. It's not true. Well,
I think that it will end eventually. I think that people will start to wake up. I think that's usually what happens. These things don't lack purpose, right? Even though we know, like, common sense can see that people who don't deserve to be on this welfare shouldn't be on it because it doesn't advance America or advance the man. It just it stunts his growth. We know that. But there's value in it in some kind of way, because when people come to their wits' end, I don't know if you were hearing the message earlier, but if people come to their wits' end, that's when they really change, if they're willing to really change. So we just don't have to overreact to it. We don't have to be mad about it. If we see there's something to do something about, we can, if we're in the position to do. But at the end of the day, the world kind of has to do what it's going to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Scott Turner hopefully can do something good in HUD, the Housing and Urban Development. Ben Carson, hopefully, he did whatever he could do while he was there. But there's a lot of things that people should take pride in. Think about Black Lives Matter, an anti-American group. They wouldn't be welcome in Islam, because they're gay. But the two women there have taken seven houses, and while they've amassed all this wealth from people that giving them money, it's not even, they don't deserve. I mean, it's great if you have one house or two houses if you earn it, but that doesn't make sense. So a lot of wastefulness is given to people that don't deserve it. Yeah, and
that's true.
Yeah, if we encourage Americans to go after a good life and earn a good living, and those who want to be Americans at least have your P's and Q's, your ducks, whatever, in order. Yeah. Have things ready when you come here.
And
don't
also,
beg off of us.
Yeah, and to add on that too, also people have to learn to say no, right? We got to learn to say no again. We don't say, in America as a whole, nobody says no and doesn't allow for this stuff. So we just gotta push back, and I'm not saying in this crazy way that we're seeing now, everybody going to war. That's silly stuff, but I'm just saying we got to say no. We're a little bit too lenient in the country, but fair enough, Justin. I got to get to some other calls, but I appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, man. Call me again.
All right. Bye.
Yeah, that's interesting. I forgot about Section 8. I forgot about Section 8, but it's so easy to get on. That's for sure. You don't really got to prove much. They just get you on there. But you think you're winning. You think you're getting by. And you're actually not. It's only affecting you because the nature in you as a man or a woman is not developing. It's like a child that lives at home with the parents, right? When he grows up into an adult, if he stays at home, he'll never grow. He'll never grow because he's not forced to grow. There's no pressure. There's no worldly pressure. There's no incentive to figure life out. So that nature just doesn't develop. Let me go to Rick at Hampton, Virginia. Rick, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
What's up? How's it going, my brother?
All is well, Rick. How are you?
Man, it's good to be, man. This week is going by so fast, but I ain't realized next month is Memorial Day.
Oh, yeah, it's flying by, huh?
Yes, it is, man. I had to have one of my coworkers remind me next week is Memorial Day. I said, yeah, it is the last Monday of May. So let you know, we're almost halfway through the year. But I would have come in on your topic there, Brother Joel, is it God's will?
Yeah, fair enough.
I believe God, everything is God's will. Even when we do wrong and mess up, God permits what we permit. He will permit it to let you, teach you a lesson.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
You know, I mean, just like evil. I mean, he'll let it teach you a lesson. Now, I believe God will restrain it for it won't be too severe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I agree.
And that's His mercy.
Do you
But,
believe? Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Joel. I'm
No,
sorry.
finish your point. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying, you know, really, as long as we obey God, He let us enjoy life. But once we get disobedient, just like He told the kings in the Bible, don't multiply yourselves these wives; they're gonna cause y'all pain.
Yeah.
And you know, God told them, but when they was disobedient, God said, "Okay, I'm gonna let y'all do what y'all want to do."
Yeah.
And they saw that was painful.
Yeah. And through that is how they realize the truth. You know, remind me of like, and not to get all biblical, but when Jesus had died on the cross, none of the Pharisees, a lot of the Pharisees didn't believe before he died, right? They didn't believe and they mocked him. We know that. But after he died, and the temple actually split apart, and the world, the sky went black, according to the movie, and the world was shaking. And then some of the Pharisees were like, "Oh, the prophecy was true." It's like this thing sometime has to fall apart for people to recognize the truth.
It's sad, and you would think it shouldn't take that much, man. But man, we are some stiff-necked people, man. You know, something, and like the world is getting worse with that. You know, it's like some people don't believe, horse manure stinks unless you rub it in their face.
yeah, exactly. But do you believe?
And it should take that.
Do you believe that God created evil?
Oh yes, absolutely. I believe He created, not for glory or nothing, but what I mean by God created, He controls it. If evil go out, God can stop it dead in its tracks.
Yeah.
If God would desire to. But God want to say, okay, I think I'm gonna let it go a little longer, man, before He make sure you can get the message.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think that. Yeah, He uses it to wake people up, and also He's above it all. He's in control of it, like you said. And doesn't mean everybody's gonna turn to Him, but He knows what He's doing. And I think He uses it for His benefit.
Absolutely, God uses evil to get us. You can even go with World War II, when Japan was trying to take over the world. You know, God asked him, "Hey, you need to stop what you're doing." But God said, "Okay, you don't want to listen to Japan? I'm gonna bring up the United States and Great Britain and get them a wooden spoon to spank you."
Interesting.
And he dropped enough bombs. And you know, what you think about it, Truman was very, very merciful. This is just a theory I came up with. When Franklin D. Roosevelt was president, it happened on his watch. He was hot when that happened, man. I mean, President Roosevelt wanted to go after him, man, but God took him out, brought Truman in, who showed them mercy, but it still accomplished what God wanted.
Yeah.
Because I believe if FDR would have had 3 or 4 balls, he would have dropped them until they surrendered.
Interesting. That's interesting stuff, Rick.
Yes, sir. But Truman, he was very patient. He dropped one, and I don't think Truman dropped another until like 3 or 4 days later.
Interesting. I'm not too familiar, but this is all interesting stuff.
I just looked at it. I was just saying that's God's way of showing mercy, because He knew Roosevelt would try to put Japan under the water. But God said, "I don't want to do that to Japan, so let me go ahead and remove President Roosevelt and bring in Truman. He'll do what I want him to do. He'll be more merciful toward Japan." That's just my theory, you know.
Yeah.
Not proven, but it just seemed like when it happened on Roosevelt, man, they deceived President Roosevelt, and he was like, "Man, I'm hot about this." And so he wanted to go after them.
Interesting.
But Truman came in, and Truman wanted to end the war, so he just dropped enough bombs. You know, he even gave them. Truman warned him. Truman done everything he could to warn him. He said, "Look, you guys don't surrender. The next one going on the emperor's house." But other than that, yes, I believe everything is God's will, Joel. Evil, God created evil. He can control it whenever. He can stop it anytime He wants.
I agree. Well, I appreciate that, Rick. Thanks, man,
Appreciate
for
you
calling.
there, Joel. Thanks for taking my call, man. Lord stay the same, man. I'll try and tune in tomorrow.
All right. Sounds good. Thank
I
you,
love
Rick.
you guys. Be blessed.
All right, you as well. Nice. Angman Art says, we help the Jews from Hitler, help Vietnamese from Viet Cong, help Korean from the commies, but we can't help 59 Africans because they're white. I don't think you guys be understanding my point. I just don't think you guys understand. I don't think you listening to my point. I really don't. Because that ain't got nothing to do with what I said. Y'all keep thinking I'm saying don't let them in. I ain't saying don't let them in. That was never my argument. I never said don't let the South Africans in. That was not my point. And I ain't gonna make my point again because I keep saying my point over and over and over and over again. And you guys still come back with some other stuff. So that's on you. It ain't on me. If Trump won't let them in, that's fine. That's not my point. But thank you, Angman Art, for the super chat. That's nice. I got a minute left. Let me see here. Still no calls about the disagreement. But that's fine. Joel is scared of white unity against blacks. All right. Let me see. Check the super chats. Ha ha. Eric Harlan. Unconscious people. This is on buymeacoffee.com/Joel Friday TV. Unconscious people are compelled to distraction from the imagination because the imagination creates our suffering. God doesn't create distractions. A lack of God creates distractions. I agree, Eric. And Eric, you said something interesting in a Buy Me a Coffee yesterday that I wanted to get to today, but I don't think I'll have time to really address it. But if the Lord is willing, maybe I'll address that tomorrow or sometime this week. But it was interesting. He goes on to say about the imagination here, and then I got to end. Hold up. The imagination creates boredom, loneliness, worry, depression, heartache. So we're constantly distracting ourselves from the imagination with excitement, chasing thrills. And the most available from our excitement is anger. So when we don't have our phone, iPad, cigarettes, drink, drugs, or significant other, we reach for anger when we should be reaching for God. Yes. And maybe you meant this, but I want to add to that is that the imagination doesn't create boredom and it doesn't create heartache. The imagination creates some type of satisfaction, thrill, right? It has to make something from nothing. It creates the thrill. That's what attaches us to the imagination, is because it's satisfying, right? It brings some type of satisfaction, false happiness, false excitement. But after that passes, what is left from the mess is boredom and heartache and depression and stuff like that. So if the imagination itself created boredom, people wouldn't drift off into the imagination because that's painful. People don't want pain. People want pleasure. So the imagination is designed to create pleasure. Well, not designed for that reason, but the devil uses the imagination for pleasure to distract you from what you're saying, which is focusing on God. Know what I'm saying? But I think we making our way to the same point. Right on, Eric. I appreciate it. I always appreciate the commentary there on Buy Me a Coffee. Always good stuff. All right, y'all. I got to end. American Anchor Baby coming in right now. Make sure you guys tune into his show. I'll be back here tomorrow for some more stuff, for some more mess. We'll get into it. Until then, I'll see you. Cameo.com/It's Joel Friday TV for a little shout out, a little tips and advice, whatever you need. Check that out. All right, y'all. Bye.